I love pancakes and waffles, and I think one of the reasons for that is because I have such a wide variety of different syrups and things to eat on it. And so it makes it so that each time that I eat it, it's like a different experience. So in this case, I'm actually making raspberry syrup, and raspberries are one of my favorite flavors, so I love making this one. For this, I'll start out with 10 cups worth of raspberries. I actually like to combine my golden raspberries with my red raspberries because it makes it a little bit lighter, more festive color. I'll place them in my pan, and at this point, all I'm doing is softening them up so that I can get out the raspberry juice. Then I'll add 2 tablespoons of water. The water just keeps it from burning until it can start getting some of its own juices out. I have some frozen ones here because that's the only way I can keep my kids from eating them. If I put them in the freezer, then they're gonna be safe for me later, but the refrigerator, not so much. So now I'll put this on the stove on medium heat and bring it to a simmer and just kind of simmer it until all of those raspberries are really soft and ready to let loose their juice for me. Now that my raspberries are soft, I'll place them into a strainer. And I've got that right on top of my measuring cup because I need to strain out 3 1/4 cups worth of raspberry juice. This will take about 5 to 10 minutes to work all of that juice out, and I just go back and forth in the strainer with my spatula. If you wanted it to be a really clear jelly, you could always put it in a cheesecloth and hang it and just allow it to drip overnight until it got all the way out. I don't like waiting that long. I don't mind if it's not super clear. I actually like a little bit more of the pulp in there. I just want to take the seeds out more than anything. It's gotten quite a bit thicker, and it's at just below 3 cups worth at this point. So I'll wash off my spatula and show you the next step. Now I lift up my strainer, and underneath my strainer there is quite a bit of pulp that's still attached. So I just use my spatula to scrape that off right into the juice. And it's perfectly 3 1/4 cups, so I'll set that off to the side. And now I'll actually save this pulp. I did some raspberry jelly today as well. And so I've got 2 batches worth, and I'll make this into raspberry powder. Now I'll place my juice back into my pan and get ready for my next step. Now I'll add 5 cups of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of butter. The butter is optional, but it reduces the amount of foam that forms. Now I'll stir that sugar in well, and then I'll place this on the stove and bring it to a boil. Now that my syrup's come to a boil, I'll set a 1-minute timer and stir it continuously. I'll fill up my 1/2 pint jars to 1/4 of an inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. Now there are some of the raspberry seeds that made it through, and that's because of the way I do the pressing method with that sieve. If you need all of those seeds out, you can always do the cheesecloth or the jelly bag method instead. For me, as long as the majority of them are out, I'm pretty happy with it. I'll then use a clean, damp cloth to wipe off the rim of my jars so that if anything got on the edge, that it won't interfere with the seal. Then I'll place my lids and rings on until they're fingertip tight. I'm using Superb Lids today. They're my new favorite company for lids and jars. They're American made, and they just have really good quality. They're super nice to work with. I really like how soft and squishy their seal is. I feel like it does a better job of holding on to my jars. And it's supposed to seal up to 36 months, which is twice the amount of time that the other jars are supposed to seal. Look in the description below for a link and a 20% off coupon code. Now I'll place these in my boiling water bath under 1 to 2 inches of water, and I'll process them for 10 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll process them for 15, but I won't start my timer until after they start to boil. Now that my processing time is complete, I'll remove the lid, turn off the heat, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I place my jars on a heat-resistant surface about 1 to 2 inches apart so that they can cool quickly. I'll leave them there for 24 hours so that they can get a good seal. I can tell they have a good seal if the center of the lid has depressed down. If it has, And then I'll remove the rings, wash them with hot soapy water, and store them in a cool, dry, dark location like my pantry, and use them in the next 1 to 3 years. If I have any that didn't seal, then I would place them in the refrigerator and use them right away. So the taste tester, like I said, there's a few spare seeds floating around in there. Not very many though. I actually really like it. It's got the little bit of tart with sweet that the raspberries are characteristic for. The texture is smooth but thick enough that I feel like I could put it on my waffle without it making it soggy. I think that this is a lovely addition to my pantry.